Hey guys, I'm Vitaliy Grechin, and this is my story. My story was brought to attention of the world mostly by accident. It was never meant to be public, never meant to be publicized, never meant to be advertised. It's a silly situation where a few of my friends went on the balcony to get a picture with a beautiful view after swimming in a swimming pool of a private apartment. And obviously created a sort of a shockwave around the world, and people wanted to talk about it because it was such an unusual sight to see. So after I saw how much attention that the story got, I decided to comment on the story itself, because a lot of people misinterpreted the situation and my life and the story as a whole. It's not a story about sex, it's not a story about prostitution, it's not a story about drugs, it's not a story about parties. It's more of a story about friends, about lifestyle, about freedom of expression, about art, about creating something that's unusual, beautiful. It's a story about aesthetic beauty of a person. To talk about my life, I grew up in the States. I served in the army, I went to university. I got a master's degree in finance. I worked in corporate America, and it didn't make me happy. So I went back to my country of origin, which is Ukraine, and I tried to do some of the things that I saw in the United States. I tried to implement some of the ideas and some of the business models that I saw in Ukraine, which was an emerging market back in 2000s. So what I was trying to do, I was opening restaurants as a part of a hospitality consulting group, American steakhouses, breweries, clubs. We were consulting on construction of an aqua park. Then worked as a part of a team that opened a chain of high-end boutiques in the capital city and across the country. Growing up, I always wanted to be a photographer. I understood that I could make a living as a photographer because my photographs were not on the level of somebody who's recognized for being an amazing photographer. So I decided to let other talented people create something on the platform that I could provide for them. So I invited photographers, videographers to my trips, along with my friends, for them to create something that the world could see, something that could be amazing. And for the past 5 years, I've been shooting lots of content for worldwide publications such as Playboy. We did a lot of very cool music videos for music artists. We did a lot of photo shoots for brands. We did a lot of other things that I could be proud of, and did it all for the art of it. None of it has brought us any money. Actually, it costs a lot of money to maintain such a hobby, but it also comes with the benefits of meeting the people who are involved in making such beautiful creations. So when the story went public with Dubai, obviously people misinterpreted the story and the situation, my life as a whole. They looked at these 5% of my life and they thought, okay, so this guy is all about making girls on the balcony, and obviously it's not. It's a very small part of my life, yet even that 5%, they misinterpreted it into something that it's not. So after all of the investigations, after all of the probes, both in Dubai and Ukraine and everywhere else, it was very clear that there was no negative aspects to the situation, as though like there were no drugs, everybody was tested for drugs and everybody tested negative. There was no prostitution, because in Dubai, obviously you have cameras everywhere, so they would know if there was any sort of illegal activity to be done, or that was being done, or to be concerned with. Obviously, Ukrainian authorities checked into what was going on. Obviously, there were probes into all of our phones, into all of our laptops, computers, tablets, and nothing was found. As I was sitting in jail, thinking about what to do next, without understanding how long I was going to spend in Dubai jail, I made a list of countries that I wanted to visit that I haven't been to. And obviously, Croatia was one of them, Montenegro was one of them, because they're overlooked by most travelers. And I found them to be incredibly beautiful, much more so than I have ever imagined. Because the situation was misinterpreted in such a way that it created an image of sex, promiscuity, parties, and drugs, I decided to do something. I decided to show the world that a model and a photographer are much more about beauty, art, and inspiration than all of the things that closed-minded people make it out to be. As a result, I will soon present my vision of art, of my creations, and the creations that I'm creating with my fellow photographers and most of the girls that you saw with me on different trips in Dubai and Montenegro and Croatia and other places. This project is meant to show the world what I'm all about, which is beauty, which is friendship, which is creating art, which is beautiful locations, traveling, and living a life that basically makes you happy.